Aloha, this is Andy back for video number 2. It's been about a week since my last video, so I'm sitting about week 7 now. I think in my last video I mentioned how I was planning on being done with the beginner course in about a week, but two things kind of hit me since that video. One was going back and looking at the Just Guitar website and realizing that there was a piece I was missing, and that was the ear training. There's some basic levels of like your ear training, and I definitely didn't want to skip over that, so I want to make sure I'm capturing that now in my beginner course training. Secondly was the fact that I still had a lot of work to do with my F chord. So, that's part of the beginner course. Until I felt really comfortable with that chord, I didn't want to move forward. And then also, it's really just the fact that I'm in no hurry. So, why not take another week or two, work on my ear training, work on the F chord. I do have to say I'm kind of leaning forward and cheating a little bit. I did watch the first video in the intermediate series and start working on my the major diatonic scale. So one thing that Justin talks about is working on minimum movement. Don't have your fingers flying off the fretboard as you're working on your scale. So it's something I'm paying attention to. Then also the fact this entire time I've been working on my alternate picking. So that's something I did a lot back in the day. Was do all downstrokes, especially like learning Metallica. That was like the thing, do downstrokes of all your chords. So it was really important to me to kind of focus on my alternate picking and ensuring I get that down, because I know ultimately if I want to play fast, ultimately I want to get good first until I really worry about playing fast. But one day I got to get down, so might as well work on it now. But also one of the things I want to kind of capture in this video is a few of the aha moments I've had over the last 7 weeks. Number one, I kind of understood the fact that modes existed within scales. If you take the C major scale, each of the modes is each of the notes starting out C, D, E, F, etc. But I didn't really understand how it played between the different scales, between the major and minor scales. So it's kind of like, wow, kind of mind-blowing thing, seeing how the A major scale is actually the exact same scale as the F sharp minor scale. Just starting on the different notes and moving up the scale, it's the exact same notes, but it's actually two different scales. Another thing was, apparently I was playing power chords wrong this entire time. Just a Guitar, how he showed the video wasn't the only one. I saw some other websites that kind of showed power chords. I guess I'll kind of point it out in the video here. I got my PRS standard 24 here, still here. It's got, say if I fret on the F on the low E string here, and then I should be using my other two fingers to fret like this on the 3rd fret. But I was always going like this, just laying my finger down and then kind of naturally muting the strings above that, which should be more like this in fretting. And then I was also kind of always naturally dampening the low E string whenever I move on to the A string to play my power chords, but I tend to use my thumb a lot. And a lot of times they're kind of point out you want to use the tip of the pinky for dampening the E string, but for some reason I always want like this, have my thumb sitting right here. It's kind of those weird things. If you don't really have videos that show you exactly how to do things, you just kind of figure out your own way of fingering things, but apparently it works. So another thing that's kind of jumped out at me is I was watching another video is actually on sweep picking, but a point that they made was pull-offs, and the fact, I understand like a hammer-on, you struck it and you hammer it on, but then I never got the whole pull-off part of it. Never sounded very well, because I didn't realize that whenever you're pulling off, you should actually be doing a slight like pulling of the finger like this. It really helps it sound out, as opposed to me just strumming, pulling straight off. You just get a lot more of a sound coming out of that. Something small, but it's one of those things where if you don't have anybody showing you, you're not going to realize that. I'd say another really cool moment was I was practicing the song "I Got a Feeling." and my oldest son, a 10-year-old, he's like, hey, I know that song. You know, just kind of one of those cool moments, just playing along, and your kid just picking up like, hey, I know that song. I kind of mentioned power chords a minute ago, but even though I've been playing little things with power chords, I've been kind of actually intentionally not picking songs, or picking songs that don't have power chords, because I just really wanted to work on my open chords a lot more. So to me, it really wasn't much of a thing to just learn another song but just do a bunch of power chords, which I'm already fairly comfortable with. I wanted to really work on those open chords. So whether it was the level 1, level 2, or level 3 the beginner, I picked all songs that did not use power chords. They're all open chords. So I think like next week, which is probably going to be finally my wrap-up video for the beginner's course, it's probably be a lot of just me playing guitar, to actually really show kind of where I'm at, like what I think is the finishing of the beginner course, and that will be me playing those a lot of open chords for those songs. So I kind of opened up the video mentioning how I've been playing the F chord a lot and working on my ear training. So that's really been the focus of my last week, you know, and that's like 45 minutes, an hour a day. I mean, I think that's one of the big things is like how much have I been practicing? Yeah, it's about how much. You can say it's a little boring doing the same things over and over. Like I play an F chord, doesn't ring out. Make sure all the notes ring out. I play the same thing on a different fret. You know, whether I'm fretting it on the actual F chord or I move up to the 3rd fret and I'm actually playing a G chord by using the bar F chord position and making sure it rings out, move up and down the neck. I'll sit there and go and play some other chords like A chord, C chord, the open chords, and then just try to jump right back to the F chord. Again, just to see if I can nail that chord position or minimal movement once I get my fingers in place to kind of straighten it out. And so, yeah, it's really I've been kind of working on, and for my next week, again, I'm gonna keep working on that, mainly my ear training, F chord. I'm also probably gonna go back to playing a couple of the songs I kind of learned before. It's like 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. So kind of the basic rhythms, so that in my next video next week, I'll just kind of capture all that and wrap it all up. Kind of looking forward to it. It's been a really interesting journey, and I thank Justin so much for doing his Justin Guitar website. So hopefully I'll see you guys again in a week. Again, thanks for listening.